On July 2, 1937, the world held its breath. Amelia Earhart, a name synonymous with courage, adventure, and breaking barriers, vanished. She was on the cusp of achieving the impossible, circumnavigating the globe at its widest point. But somewhere over the vast, unforgiving Pacific, her Lockheed Electra 10E, and her navigator Fred Noonan, disappeared without a trace. It's a mystery that has captivated generations, sparking countless theories, expeditions, and debates. Today, we're going to dive into the top 3 most compelling theories behind one of history's greatest unsolved disappearances. Prepare for a journey into the unknown. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe, like and share our channel. Before we explore the theories, let's set the scene. Amelia Earhart wasn't just a pilot, she was an icon. The first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, a celebrated author, and an advocate for women's rights in aviation. Her ambition was boundless. In 1937, at 39 years old, she embarked on her most ambitious flight yet, a 29,000-mile journey around the world. This wasn't just a flight, it was a statement. A testament to human endeavor and the spirit of exploration. With her skilled navigator Fred Noonan by her side, they tackled leg after challenging leg. The journey was long, grueling, but filled with the promise of history. The final, most dangerous leg began from New Guinea, heading towards Howland Island, a tiny, remote speck of land in the Central Pacific. It was a needle in a haystack, and their primary navigation aid was supposed to be the U.S. Coast Guard cutter, Itasca, stationed near Howland, broadcasting radio signals. As they neared Howland, communication became sporadic, then desperate. "We are on the line 157-337. We are running north and south," Amelia radioed. Then, silence. Despite extensive search efforts by the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard, no trace of the plane, Amelia, or Fred was ever found. The world mourned, and the mystery began. The simplest and most widely accepted explanation is often the most tragic. Amelia and Fred simply ran out of fuel, crashed into the Pacific, and their plane sank without a trace. This theory posits a confluence of factors. First, the incredible difficulty of navigating to a tiny island like Howland. Even with Noonan's expertise, celestial navigation over such a featureless expanse was fraught with peril. The weather was also a factor. Reports from the Itasca indicated overcast skies and squalls, making visual navigation impossible. Radio communication was notoriously unreliable in 1937. The Itasca's signals were difficult for Earhart to home in on, and her own transmissions were often weak or garbled. There were also frequency issues and confusion about the proper channels. Imagine trying to find a tiny island in the middle of a storm with a faulty GPS and a crackling radio. Ultimately, if they missed Howland Island and couldn't establish reliable two-way radio contact, their fuel reserves would have dwindled. The Electra had a range of about 4,000 miles, but headwinds, extended searching, and an inability to find Howland would have quickly exhausted their supply. The plane, heavy with fuel, would have likely plunged into the ocean, breaking apart on impact and rapidly sinking to the crushing depths. This theory, championed by the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, TIRE, suggests a different, more drawn-out fate. Amelia and Fred made an emergency landing on Gardner Island, now known as Nikumaroro, an uninhabited coral atoll southeast of Howland. TIRE's research points to several intriguing pieces of evidence. For hours after their last known transmission, distressed radio calls were reportedly picked up from other locations, suggesting Amelia and Fred might have survived the initial landing. These calls often spoke of being on an island, injured, and needing help. Furthermore, archaeological expeditions to Nikumaroro have unearthed compelling artifacts, fragments of what appear to be Amelia's compact, pieces of a plexiglass believed to be from the Electra, and even bones that, after forensic analysis, show similarities to a woman of Amelia's stature. The theory suggests that after landing, possibly on the island's flat reef during low tide, they survived for a period, perhaps drinking rainwater and eating what little sustenance the island offered. However, without rescue, they eventually succumbed to injuries, dehydration, starvation, or exposure. The plane itself would have been washed off the reef by high tides and storms, lost to the sea. This is perhaps the most sensational and controversial theory, that Amelia and Fred didn't crash, but were instead captured by the Japanese, possibly suspected of being spies. Proponents of this theory point to a photograph, supposedly from a U.S. National Archives file, depicting a woman resembling Amelia Earhart and a man resembling Fred Noonan on Jalawat Atoll in the Marshall Islands, then under Japanese mandate, after the date of their disappearance. While the image's authenticity and interpretation are heavily debated, it fueled decades of speculation. The idea is that the Japanese, wary of U.S. intelligence gathering in the lead-up to World War II, intercepted the plane. Amelia and Fred were then allegedly held prisoner, perhaps dying in captivity. Stories from locals in the Marshall Islands have occasionally surfaced, claiming to have seen a foreign woman pilot and her navigator. However, this theory lacks definitive proof. The famous photograph has been largely debunked as having been published years before Earhart's disappearance, and despite numerous investigations, no concrete evidence of their capture or imprisonment has ever emerged from official Japanese records. It remains a fascinating, albeit largely unsubstantiated, footnote in the mystery. So, which theory is true? While the crash and sink remains the most prosaic and perhaps most likely, the allure of the castaway, or even capture, theory speaks to our desire for a more definitive, tangible answer than simply disappearing into the vastness of the ocean. Amelia Earhart's disappearance is more than just a historical enigma. It's a powerful reminder of the risks taken by pioneers, the limits of 1930s technology, and the indomitable human spirit that dares to push boundaries. Her legacy isn't diminished by the mystery, it's amplified by it. She remains an inspiration, a symbol of courage, and a testament to the enduring human quest for exploration. Whether she rests in the deep Pacific, on a forgotten island, or in the annals of a secret history, Amelia Earhart's name will forever echo as one of the greatest adventurers of all time. The mystery endures, inviting us all to wonder, and to dream. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more documentaries, aviation history, and unsolved mysteries. Thanks for watching.